How's it going, you sexy beasts? I know it's been a little while since my last weapon review, and that's slightly due to my ineptitude with setting up hard drives in a RAID format, and also because I didn't want my main bulk of my content to be focused on weapon overviews. So now that I'm back into the swing of things, let's start off with a weapon suggested by Mr. Energyone, whose YouTube channel I'll link in the description below. I'm going to be changing how I take weapon review requests to the most upvoted comment. So if you want to see a specific weapon, rate up them comments. So let's go ahead and dive gun first into the Vanu Sovereignty's Flare Light Machine Gun. If you're aware of my preferred weaponry, it's got to hit hard and be hella accurate. The Flare combines both into an awesome package for any Vanu heavy assault. My favorite LMG in the entire game has got to be the New Conglomerate's Gauss Saw, solely due to its heavy cartridge that it fires. The Vanu Sovereignty may not be throwing entire bricks out of their guns, but they surely have the weaponry to compete. Focusing on a medium-range battlefield, the Flare will give any soldier wielding it the strength to combat assault rifles and DMRs at pretty lengthy distances. To put the sheer damage of this thing into perspective, we'd have to take a look at the minimum damage. At maximum damage drop-off, the Flare does the same damage per bullet as most other Vanu light machine guns do at point blank. Now, if that's not the coolest laser beam crap you've ever heard, then I don't think you've been playing Planetside 2 long enough to understand it. I know what you're thinking. What type of AA batteries has Vanu loaded up into this beast to make it so freaking awesome? I'm surely glad you asked. This thing runs on propulsion generators that causes each shot to deal 167 damage per shot up to 10 meters and down to 143 damage at a maximum damage drop-off distance of 75 meters. At extremely close range, the Flare will drop targets with as little as 6 bullets and will only require 1 more bullet to drop a foe at any other range past 10 meters. With the high damage per shot, we're given a rather medium-low fire rate of 577 rounds per minute. Including a 6-bullet kill minimum and a 577 round per minute fire rate, the Flare can drop a target in as little as 0.62 seconds. If we throw in the average accuracy variable of 30%, the accurate effective time to kill is closer to 2.07 seconds at about the 20 to 30 meter range. If you're fighting in close quarters, take the lower number. If it's a longer range fight, then take the higher number. If we ignore the 750 round per minute fire rate weaponry designed for close quarters, this time to kill rides the line of many other weapons regardless of the weapon class. So don't expect to be outgunned by an opponent for using a slower firing weapon. Just gotta stay on target. Magazine capacity of the Flare is 75 rounds with another 225 in the reserve. The extended magazine attachment increases magazine capacity to 150 rounds while taking the reserve down to 150 rounds. This includes the total awesome supply of 300 rounds, which you will be able to potentially drop up to 50 targets without having to resupply your ammunition. That is, assuming every single bullet hits. Short reload speed of the Flare with a charge still left in its awesome battery is a pretty lengthy 4.24 seconds. Long reload speed of a spent battery is 5.225 seconds. This is on par with the Terran Republic's TMG 50 and isn't that bad considering the large magazine you're toting around. Vertical recoil pulls upward at a rate of 0.45 degrees, which is on the higher end of other LMGs. Horizontal recoil of the Flare is absolutely terrible, where it bounces both left and right with no particular bias. First shot recoil is a pretty standard 2 times, causing the first shot of any amount of burst to kick harder than the following shots. Coupled with the higher end vertical recoil, be prepared to burst fire like crazy. Luckily for us, the cone of fire doesn't bloom too heavily, so bursts can be drawn out for a little longer than other weapons. Muzzle velocity of the projectiles fired move at a steady rate of 600 meters per second, giving you the perfect speed to easily lead targets moving perpendicular to you. Now I know what you're thinking. What the heck do we do about attachments? Don't worry, I've got the solution for you, hopefully. Since we're dealing with a hard-hitting, slow-firing light machine gun with some ample recoil, I'm sure you can assume what I'd love to kit this weapon out with. Surely every weapon has its disadvantages, and the Flare's largest disadvantage is its horrible horizontal recoil. To alleviate this, the very first attachment I would recommend would be the forward grip for the weapon's rail slot. Since we'd be focusing on engaging targets beyond point blank, it'd be wise to try and make our longer range combat effectiveness even better than before. Horizontal recoil being completely random on this weapon, the forward grip will further focus those rounds downrange and only need you to worry about slowly bringing the muzzle of the weapon downward. Extended magazines is also available to the flare, but doubling the magazine size is just not worth losing out on the benefits of the forward grip. You've already got 75 rounds in the magazine, and if you can't down your targets in that amount from downrange, I'd recommend probably swapping classes. Next would have to be the optics. Everyone has their own personal preference for optics here, but since we're dealing with a medium-range, slow-firing light machine gun, there's two that I would have to highly recommend. The first being is the 2x reflex, and the other being the 3.4x red dot sight. I love the 2x reflex as it gives the adaptability between short and medium-range combat, all while keeping your field of view as large as possible. Then again, the 3.4x red dot has that delicious magnification to keep rounds hitting the upper torso of your target. Once again, personal preference, but anything to replace the dual ring iron sight setup that comes by default. It's not that pretty. For an attachment on the end of the barrel, we'll load up my most loved attachment, the compensator. This will further reduce the vertical recoil of the flare to help tame this beast during consecutive fire. Only drawback is reduced hipfire accuracy and a further appearance range in your enemy's minimap. They're not really drawbacks since you're not going to be hipfiring this weapon very often, and you're playing a heavy assault, so disregarding stealth is completely fine. The final attachment slot we have available is the loaded ammunition. This is honestly another personal preference, but I'd have to give the slight edge to soft point ammunition. Keeping that 6-bullet kill for a longer distance while losing some projectile velocity is absolutely amazing compared to a faster bullet and more recoil from the high velocity ammunition. If you've used the Terran Republic's TMG-50, the NC's Gauss Saw, or the Vanu's Ursa, then the flare will be of no surprise to you in how it handles and drops targets with ease. Its biggest strength is to hold enemies at bay at 20 to 30 meters with its extremely strong wounding capability and accurate firing. Sustained fire cannot be held for very long as the cone of fire bloom will spread too far, nullifying your range bonus. Keep in mind that bursts of 10 rounds or so will be optimal while keeping the first shot recoil multiplier almost out of the picture. You'll have to get used to the hefty vertical recoil this weapon pulls unless you're a freaking boss. Luckily, the compensator helps out a ton, and the forward grip will help keep those shots centered to where you'll actually be hitting your target instead of the environment around them. Keep in mind that this weapon still holds a strong presence in close quarters combat, but will easily be outshined by other weapons designed specifically to be a bullet hose, such as the Orion. Price tag of the flare is actually pretty freaking awesome. It's a tier 2 weapon featuring a 250 certification point cost or 500 station cash. After you've made the introductory purchase of the weapon, the very first attachment you should grab is the forward grip, hands down, for the rail slot for 100 certification points. Optics would be next, either opting for the 2x reflex or the 3.4x red dot. I'd urge you to grab the 2x reflex for 30 certification points. Final main attachment would be the compensator attachment for the barrel slot, adding on another 100 certification points. Last but not least, and should probably be certified last, would be the soft point ammunition for the final 100 certification points. All attachments, including the weapon itself, will cost you a mere 580 certification points. That's an amazing price point for such a sweet-ass weapon. There you have it, you sexy beasts. The Flare medium-range light machine gun for the Vanu Sovereignty's heavy assault class. This thing rather blew me away, and I sure blew away plenty of conglomerate and Terran soldiers alike. Thank you guys so very much for watching and supporting me to help keep creating content for you guys. We're nearing 3,000 sexy beasts strong, so let's keep up the pace. Got an idea for my next weapon review? Go ahead and drop a comment in the comments below, and remember to upvote any other comments you see to go ahead and get that next weapon review out. I'll be taking one of the top rated comments of this video to determine my next weapon review. So have you guys tried the Flare before? What do you think of it? Let me know below, or let me know what you'd like to see once we reach the 3,000 subscribers strong. If you did like this video, please give it a big ass thumbs up. If you didn't, go ahead and thumbs it down and let me know what I can improve on. Want to see more videos like this? Then go ahead and subscribe. It is absolutely free.